Today we are looking into an interesting story of mystery and intrigue that goes back 700 years and was only recently told to our research team. Is it fact or fantasy? Honestly, we don't know. It's been a local legend for a long time and was supposedly proven following a discovery in 2020. We have tried to verify it and have searched in museums, libraries, and even an archaeological society, but turned up nothing so far. Let us know what you think in the comments, and if you manage to find out more about the truth of the discovery, also please let us know in the comments. Okay, so here is today's deep dive.
Hey everyone, ready to ditch the tourist traps and dive into a real-life mystery. We're headed to Tuscany, but not for the vineyards this time.
No, we're going underground, exploring the Monte Maggio cavern.
This place is incredible. Ancient artifacts, whispers of secret societies. It's like something straight out of an Indiana Jones movie.
Well, maybe without the whole rolling boulder thing. But yeah, the Monte Maggio cavern is a pretty remarkable discovery. What's fascinating is how it stayed hidden for so long.
Right, like how do you miss a cave full of ancient treasures?
It took a team of, well, I guess you could call them modern-day explorers to finally uncover it. They were using a combination of, get this, local legends and ancient texts as their guide.
Okay, hold on. So we're talking about people using centuries-old stories and documents to find a real-life hidden cave. That's incredible. Were they like deciphering cryptic maps and symbols and stuff?
Exactly. They were poring over faded maps, deciphering symbols etched into weathered stones. It was a real-life treasure hunt. That's amazing. So after all that detective work, they finally find this cavern. What do they see when they step inside?
What they found was a treasure trove of artifacts, untouched for centuries. Glittering crystals, intricately carved sculptures, stacks of ancient coins.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold up. Let's back up for a second. Coins, like old school currency. What can those tell us?
Those coins are like little time capsules, giving us a peek into the economic activity of whoever was using this cave.
So we can learn about their lives just from these coins.
We can learn a surprising amount. For example, some of the coins were minted in Venice, which was a major maritime power back then.
Venice, as in Italy, that's hundreds of miles from Tuscany.
Precisely. And that suggests that whoever was using this cavern was part of a much larger network, maybe even involved in international trade.
Okay, now my mind is racing. Who were these people? What were they doing in this cavern? Was it just a hideout for smugglers? Or something more?
That's the million-dollar question. And to answer it, we need to look at the other artifacts they found. And trust me, they get even more interesting.
Okay, you've definitely got my attention now. Let's hear it. What else did they find?
Alongside the coins, they found religious sculptures. And not just any sculptures, these were unique, like nothing historians had ever seen before.
Intriguing. Okay, so we're going from international trade to potentially religious practices. It's getting good. Tell me more about these sculptures.
Well, first off, their presence alone is fascinating. It suggests that this cavern wasn't just a hiding spot. It was a place of spiritual significance.
Okay, so they weren't just stashing their loot in there. They were using it for, what, rituals, gatherings?
We can't say for sure, but it's clear that this place held a deeper meaning for them. And then there's the craftsmanship of the sculpture themselves. They depict religious figures, but with these subtle stylistic flourishes that suggest a unique set of beliefs.
So not your run-of-the-mill religious artifacts. These seem to hint at potentially unique beliefs or practices.
Precisely. And it gets even more interesting. Alongside these sculptures, etched into the very walls of the cavern, the explorers discovered a series of mysterious symbols. And some researchers believe these markings might be the key to understanding who these people were and what they were doing in this hidden sanctuary.
Okay, now you've officially piqued my curiosity. Mysterious symbols in a hidden cavern. This is getting good. What kind of symbols are we talking about?
Imagine standing inside this cavern, the air thick with the scent of earth and time. You run your hand along the cool stone walls and feel etchings some rough, others surprisingly intricate.
I can practically feel the chill down my spine, so what kinds of shapes are we talking about?
There are crosses, variations of sun symbols, geometric patterns, even figures that resemble letters from ancient alphabets. It's like stumbling upon a secret language, hidden in plain sight.
A secret language. Okay, this is officially too good to be true. So we've got mysterious symbols potentially linked to religious practices and international trade routes. This is shaping up to be one incredible historical puzzle. But before we dive into those mysterious symbols and what they might mean, let's take a moment to discuss those manuscripts you mentioned earlier. What secrets might they hold? All right, let's get back to those manuscripts, those ancient scrolls tucked away in the Monte Maggio cavern. It's like finding a box of old letters in the attic. You just know there are stories waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. And these manuscripts are no exception. They offer a direct link to the thoughts, beliefs, even the everyday lives of the people who use this cavern. The fact that some were written on vellum, that's a high-quality material, tells us these weren't just casual notes. These were meant to last, meant to carry their message across generations.
It's incredible to think about the effort they took to preserve these documents, especially in such an unusual place. What kind of writings are we talking about here? Were they grocery lists? Love letters?
Not quite. They range from religious texts to what appear to be more personal writings. Some look like theological treatises, delving into interpretations of scripture or exploring certain aspects of faith. Others, written in a more, I'd say, lyrical hand, might be prayers or hymns. They give us a glimpse into their spiritual practices.
It's like overhearing whispers, prayers echoing through centuries. It makes these people feel so much more real, They had beliefs, hopes, maybe even doubts. Makes you think about their lives, why they would seek out a place like this hidden cavern.
I agree, it really does. And then there are some manuscripts that are more, enigmatic. There's one in particular that's got researchers really scratching their heads. It's filled with intricate diagrams and what appear to be astronomical charts.
Hold on, wait, astronomical charts? You mean like they were, stargazing in this cavern? What would be the significance of that?
That's the million-dollar question. Remember, we're talking about the Middle Ages here. Back then, astronomy wasn't just about gazing at the stars. It was closely tied to religion and astrology. These charts could have been used for anything from planning religious festivals to, seeking guidance from the stars. It gives us a whole new perspective on how they saw the world, their place in it.
It's like they were trying to understand their place, not just on Earth, but in the entire cosmos. That's incredible. Okay, this is all fascinating, but we've been skirting around those enigmatic symbols for a while now. Let's get down to business. What are the leading theories about what they mean?
The symbols. They're undoubtedly the most captivating piece of this entire puzzle. Some scholars think they might be apotropaic symbols, ancient markings used to ward off evil or bad luck.
So like medieval good luck charms built into the walls of the cavern. I like it. But how do we know they weren't just decorative? I mean, people have always liked to decorate their spaces with meaningful symbols, right?
You're absolutely right. It's a good point. But here's the thing. The placement of these symbols and the fact that some are repeated suggests they weren't just there for decoration. They're often found near entrances, alcoves, even around those religious sculptures, almost like they were creating a protective barrier within the cavern.
Like they were creating their own sacred geometry, their own little world inside this hidden space. It adds a whole other layer of intrigue to this whole discovery.
Exactly. And then there's the theory that these symbols could be part of a bigger system of knowledge. Maybe even a secret language used by a specific group or order. Remember those manuscripts with the unique stylistic elements? The ones that hinted at beliefs that differed from the norm? Some researchers believe these symbols could be the key to decoding those writings, opening up a whole new understanding of who these people were.
It's like we're on the verge of cracking a centuries-old code. But if these symbols were meant to be secret, where do we even begin to try to understand them?
It's a meticulous process, that's for sure. It takes a deep understanding of historical linguistics, symbology, and honestly, a bit of intuition. Researchers are painstakingly comparing the symbols found in the cavern to known symbols from that time period, looking for any connections, any patterns that might emerge. They're also analyzing their placement within the cavern itself, their orientation, hoping for any clues that might reveal their meaning.
It's like putting together a giant ancient jigsaw puzzle, where each symbol is a piece of the bigger picture. It makes you wonder what else might be hidden within this cavern, just waiting to be discovered, right?
That's the beauty of discoveries like this. They remind us that history is a living, breathing thing. It's not static, not complete. It's an ongoing conversation, an ongoing process of uncovering, reinterpreting, and rediscovering the stories that shape how we see the past and even ourselves in the present.
Amazing. And who knows what other mysteries are out there, just waiting to be uncovered, buried beneath our feet, tucked away in some dusty archive, just waiting for the right person to come along and ask the right questions. But before we get too caught up in imagining all the other secrets waiting to be discovered, let's get back to the Monte Maggio cavern and those incredible artifacts. We've covered the coins, sculptures, those mysterious manuscripts, and even those enigmatic symbols. What other treasures did those intrepid explorers find? Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite a journey through the Monte Maggio cavern, uncovering whispers of international trade, religious practices, even dabbling in a little celestial navigation. But hold on to your hats because we're not done yet.
Not even close. We've talked about the coins, the sculptures, those incredible manuscripts, and of course those enigmatic symbols. But this cavern wasn't just a repository for ancient relics. It was a place where people lived, prayed, and left behind traces of their everyday lives.
Okay, so we're zooming in from the grand scheme of things to the more personal, intimate side of life in the cavern. What kind of things did they leave behind?
Well, among the artifacts, the explorers found personal items, things like jewelry and religious relics. These give us a glimpse into their individual stories, their beliefs, their hopes. It's fascinating.
Jewelry, huh? So are we talking about like ancient bling? Were they decked out in gold and jewels down there?
Not exactly. The jewelry they found was surprisingly simple. Rings, pendants, a few intricately worked clasps. It suggests that their focus wasn't on extravagant displays of wealth.
So if it wasn't about the bling, what was it about?
The craftsmanship. Each piece, though simple, was crafted with incredible skill and attention to detail. Many even incorporated religious iconography. But remember those stylistic deviations we talked about with the sculptures?
Yeah, those little details that hinted at a unique belief system. You think they're connected?
Exactly. The jewelry, particularly the pieces with religious imagery, share those same unique flourishes. It's like their beliefs, their distinct worldview, permeated every aspect of their lives, even down to the smallest details.
It's incredible how these subtle hints, these echoes of a forgotten past, can tell such a powerful story. But you mentioned religious relics, too. What can those tell us?
The relics were particularly revealing. Alongside the more common items like crosses and rosary beads were objects that suggested a much more personal form of devotion. There were small reliquaries, those containers for holy relics holding fragments of bone or cloth. There were prayer beads crafted from unusual materials.
Okay, I have to ask, what kind of unusual materials?
We're talking things like seeds, bone, even intricately woven hair. It speaks to a deep connection with nature, a belief system that wove together traditional faith with perhaps older, more nature-based practices.
It's like they created their own unique spiritual tapestry, blending elements from different traditions, making it their own.
Exactly. And it's a tapestry that, until the discovery of this cavern, remained hidden from the world. But the discovery of these relics, these personal expressions of faith, allows us to connect with these individuals on a human level, to recognize their hopes, their fears, their search for meaning.
It's a powerful reminder that even though centuries separate us, we share a common thread of humanity. They were just as real as we are, just as complex.
Absolutely. And it's a testament to the power of archaeology, of exploration, of daring to dig a little deeper and uncover the hidden stories that connect us all.
Beautifully said. And with that, we come to the end of our incredible journey through the Monte Maggio cavern. It's been an absolute thrill to uncover these hidden whispers of the past, to piece together the story of this remarkable place.
And who knows what other mysteries still lie buried, waiting to be unearthed. Perhaps, inspired by this discovery, others will pick up their shovels, their notebooks, their imaginations, and continue the search.
And to all our listeners, we encourage you to keep asking questions, keep exploring, and keep your imaginations open to the endless possibilities hidden within our world's history. Until next time, happy digging.
As a listener or a viewer, you can now get an instantly downloadable copy of any of the immersive Italian travel guidebooks at 50% off the normal price at theinnersecrets.com. Look for the menu item on the homepage, Viewers and Listeners Shop. Thank you for listening today.